This is Chris Spiker. Our next guest, Jim Webb, Exploring Executive. That's with the Boy Scouts of America.
Yes, indeed it is. The Exploring program is the fifth of our 5 programs in the scouting movement. It's a little different. The actual program is in an affiliation with the Boy Scouts of America, but we still hold true the same values of the scouting movement.
Right. And since the last time we talked, it was just Boy Scouts. Now it's a little bit different.
Well, the world has changed. It's been, what, about 18 months since we last came in and gave you a state of the movement. Certainly, we're very proud to expand our program offering to allow youth of all genders now into all 5 of our programs. I might add that, you know, the media made a lot out of our movement and some of the decisions that we've made. But interestingly enough, for decades, 3 of the 5 programs in the Boy Scout movement have been co-ed.
Right, and we never hear a word about that.
Nothing was said.
Yeah, we're just looking for some drama.
And it was good drama.
Well, the Boy Scouts are a big target, and you met the challenge. You didn't just close up and close down.
You know, I've been now coming on 3 years now as a professional with the movement, and 25 years of my life has been invested, you know, in combination as a volunteer. I put two of my young men through through the program, and I was a very active scout as a youth. So yeah, there may be a little biased on my part about the movement, but we think we help produce a pretty good product in our youth today.
Well, explain what the Exploring program is.
Well, as the 5th program, which as I mentioned is an affiliate, it harbors the same values as the scouting movement of providing a moral compass for our youth and allowing them to experience leadership opportunities, and certainly for the community's sake, providing extensive community service. But the one distinction in the Exploring program is that we focus on career discovery for our youth. Our traditional programs tend to focus on hobby, high adventure, a lot of very good skills, and a lot of great experiences from that. But the Exploring program really does focus on what, you know, is best for the future of our youth. And as such, we see it having a broader appeal to youth. You know, our traditional program, nationwide we service about 6% of the youth in America. That leaves 94% of the youth that you got to ask the question, well, what are they doing with their time?
Right.
I would, and my case has always been that regardless of your, you know, appetite for outdoor adventure and the things that our traditional movement offers, which again, in my bias, I'm very much in favor of, all 100% of the youth, if they're right-headed, need to think about what they're going to do with their lives, and everybody needs a career to be a productive member of society.
Right.
So that's what we focus on in the Exploring program.
What are some of the specific career paths that you're working with? I know there's always been firemen.
Yes, there have. And that's the second most mature program. Most folks, when they hear of Exploring, immediately are drawn to think of our law enforcement. There's virtually every law enforcement organization has got an Exploring post, which is serving to groom and identify future peace officers. The fire being second. Third, aviation, very strong program. We've got an aviation post here. I can report that a recent aviation explorer just stepped out, went east, and went to the Naval Academy for a career in military flight. He's going to fly F-15s. So we're very proud of that program. Very strong, you know, in leadership. And open, a lot of opportunity for that. They meet over at the Palmdale Aerospace Academy.
Well, yeah, because a youth might express an interest, and okay, what's the first step? How do you get to fly? Well, the Explorer program.
Well, certainly there's an expense associated with a private pilot's license, and what we do is we groom our youth to be as self-sufficient as they can. We help them through scholarship. We help them earn their own keep. You know, their responsibility is to earn their own way, so we do fundraising for them and support them in every way we can. So, I mean, that's a very exciting program for us. But, I mean, there are, to be specific, 9 others that I can talk about as well.
Okay.
Recently, we've seen in the press the graduation, the second year of the medical exploring post, which is sponsored by Kaiser Permanente here in Lancaster. We're very fortunate to have them as a partner.
Right.
And we've groomed, and we're getting ready to start our third year of youth coming into the school year, and that's a very exciting program, giving youth an opportunity at looking at many of the career opportunities in the healthcare field.
It must be huge to have a sponsor like Kaiser Permanente.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah.
In fact, they not only sponsor us here in Lancaster, but they also sponsor us down in the San Fernando Valley with a unit as well. A great company for working with, and they've been very philanthropic towards us.
They got to develop their next generation of people that are going to.
Well, and they're developing them. I can tell you, last year the youth president of the club went to the East Coast to start her career in medicine. Her eye is set on cardiology, and I wouldn't bet against her. She's going to be a fine heart doctor.
Well, my next question is, why is exploring relevant to our community? Is there anything else we can say about that? It's pretty obvious.
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that we're affording opportunity to our youth, I mean, we do place an emphasis on a give back to the community. So our community service hours, weigh in the hundreds of hours, and we'll continue to put forth, initiatives to serve the community in that capacity. One particular program that we are launching here in Lancaster is our social services post. Social services with an emphasis on emergency management. So this is a program that takes into consideration all the career opportunities that are afforded in that particular space. If you folks are familiar with CERT, that's Community Emergency Response Teams. If you take the CERT training, you'll learn that there are 8 chapters, there are 8 distinct career fields that are defined in the agenda of what we do on a bad day. So we are looking at training those youth to be more prepared. And the way that we're fashioning this is that we're making a movement to put into our neighborhoods what we call VPODs, Volunteer Emergency Points of Distribution. So these will be locations sited within the neighborhoods, so that in the instance we have a bad day, let's say for example you wake up, the lights don't turn on, the water's not running, and oh, by the way, your cell phone's not working.
That's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, sadly the statement is it's not if it will happen, but when.
Yeah.
The idea there is that through the education that the youth provide the neighborhoods, you'll wake up and you'll say, okay, I don't have water, I don't have electricity, I don't have information. So I can, but I do know this. I know I can walk out my house, walk down the block, 2 or 3 blocks to that VPOD that I have been educated is there, and I know one thing. It'll be manned, it'll be open, it'll have food, it'll have water, it'll have first aid, limited first aid, in accordance with the abilities of our youth. We call it the Boy Scout first aid capability. But most relevant, we will have communications. So the youth will basically through ham radio and being able to work through an extensive network that we've developed. So that's what it's going to do for the community in one of our programs.
When you're working with the youth, do they get the fact that they're volunteering right now? Does that bother anybody that, hey, I'm not getting paid, I'm volunteering, I'm learning something?
Well, we emphasize the point that what goes around comes around. In so much is that I think most of the youth come to realize very quickly they're making an investment in their career and their future. So no, we don't see much of that.
Yeah. Future directions?
Well, we're going to continue this program. As I mentioned, we've got a good start in the Antelope Valley, but it's my goal to, within a matter of, within the next year or so, have all 12 of those career areas covered, and giving our youth, opportunity to discover pretty much a medley of career options. So stay tuned.
Do you have any people in your program working on their Eagle badges?
Well, this is the distinction. The Eagle badge, Eagle rank, is in the Scouts BSA program. And so these youth will not necessarily have their eye on the Eagle advancement. It stands alone in its own right. Again, the focus here is to help these youth identify their career path. So it's a different program, different agenda. However, we do work with those Eagle Scout candidates. Those VPODs are Eagle Scout projects.
Very good. So it all fits together.
It comes all together.
How do people reach you? We got a minute, but how do people reach you, Jim?
Well, we have an office here. The service center is at L8 and 10th West. So come on by. We're open, pretty much from 10 to 5 through the Scout Shop. And of course, I'm available by phone. And if you want to call me, best way to get me is on my cell at 310-487-8055. Again, Jim Webb at 310-487-8055. I
bet they could even call the Lancaster Chamber of Commerce and say, that guy was talking about exploring, and Anna or Sharon or Mark.
Well, Mark has been a long-time scouter. Mark, right. They know where I work, and they actually know where I live as well. So
that Mark is always prepared, isn't he?
I'd say so. In a short word, yes.
And you're involved with the Chamber of Commerce, so thank you very much for joining. And how does the Chamber of Commerce benefit you?
Well, it's our part being a part of the community, and it's given me an access to meet the fine people that are running their own businesses here. Again, it's a great source of finding opportunities to serve in community service as well.
We've been talking with Jim Webb, exploring with the Boy Scouts of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.